And these teams are now focused on PPG points and the championship. In fact, 4 of the last 13 races here have predicted the IndyCar champion, but it's not going to be that simple this weekend. Jacques Villeneuve has a 20-point lead on the rest of the field, but that can be erased in a single event. And at this point, the championship could still belong to anyone. At the same time, Sam Posey, Michael Andretti's fortunes may have changed.
Well, Paul, if Michael Andretti's victory last week at Toronto does touch off a winning streak, then he has plenty of time with 6 remaining races to wrest this championship lead from his chief rivals, Villeneuve and Rahal. But he must be consistent. And Lynn, his bad qualifying here, he was 10th, may have consequences once the race begins.
This track is notorious for taking cars out on the first lap going into turn 1. In fact, Michael crashed here last year. But I can tell you that if you can get through turn 1 clean, you've got lots of places to pass and lots of ways to win this race.
In row 3, Andre Ribeiro, another rookie, has his best ever start, and this one is Honda powered. Outside is Paul Tracy, the 1993 Cleveland winner. He's discarded his crutches this weekend. In row 4, it's Scott Pruitt. His first mechanical DNF of the season came last week in Toronto. Outside is Robbie Gordon, a 2-time winner this year. He lies 3rd in the points. In row 5, it's Raul Boesel. And Michael Andretti, last week's Toronto winner, has only 1 win at Cleveland in 1991. In row 6, it's Bobby Rahal. His first career win came in the inaugural race here in 1982. And Mauricio Gugelmin. In row 7, Al Unser Jr., a 2-time Cleveland winner. And Andy Sullivan, a 3-time winner who won his first race on the runways at Cleveland. In row 8, it's Jimmy Vasser and Christian Fittipaldi. The 9th row, Emerson Fittipaldi, a 3-time winner here at Cleveland, and Adrian Fernandez. In row 10, Parker Johnstone and Stefan Johansson. The 11th row, Eddie Cheever and Eric Bachelard. The 12th row, Hiro Matsushita and Alessandro Zampedri. In the 13th row, Carlos Guerrero, who has just inked a $4.5 million deal with Dick Simon for next year, and Marco Greco. And in row 14, Eliseo Salazar. Now, looking ahead to this race on the Burke Lakefront Airport, 90 laps, the fuel stop should come 30 laps out. And the current points in the PPG Championship, you look here, Jacques Villeneuve leads the points, but look all the way down to Michael Andretti. He's led 329 laps, by far more than anyone else of the season, but as yet has only converted to a win 1 time and sits at 90 points. Still, there are plenty of points to go. Now, let's take a look at the circuit here at the Burke Lakefront Airport. 2.369 miles around, 10 turns. The trouble spots are turn 1, especially on the start, and between turn 3 and 4. And where can you pass here? Anywhere. Name a place, you got it, you can go around. The runways are 96 feet wide. That's nearly twice the width of the main straightaway at Indianapolis. In the Nations Cup, the United States now is beginning to pull away. And in today's field, here's the way they line up: chassis, engines, and tires. And the field is rolling on the circuit. In the Manufacturers' Championship battle, Ford Cosworth continues to lead. So that's the setup. And the field is moving down as we take a look down from high above the runways. Look at those grandstands. They are jammed here today. Bright sunny skies, though we worried about rain. And this is the East Loop, the far eastern end of the track. 3 consecutive turns all to the right, and it brings them on a very fast straight that heads them back toward the main straightaway. What's nice about this as a road circuit is the fact that from those grandstands you can see every point on the course. Johnny Rutherford is the driver of the PPG pace car as the field lines up with this rookie pole sitter in the bright yellow car, Jill DeFerrin. And the concern here, of course, is that turn 1, because it can be so very quick and so very wide, and we've seen them pull out and try any kind of line. So as they come, we've got a spin already as we came off of one of those areas that we told you was matter of concern.
We're not even getting to turn 1 before an incident breaks.
Nevertheless, they went green flag. They're through turn 1. We're racing. But the field badly broken up as they came through turn 1. Tracy, Ribeiro, Pruitt all appear to be part of that incident, and Tracy's back running again. Andre Ribeiro and Scott Pruitt are both still sitting on the race course. Andre Ribeiro is off the edge. Here it is. Tracy, who has been really charging forward in the past couple of races, was charging again and got together with Ribeiro.
It's amazing to have that happen in turn 3, or in the row 3 and row 4, that mid, section of it, to have it happen there. But I think I read a quote where Tracy said he really had to get to the front because he didn't qualify as well as he expected. So he really jumped too soon.
Well, Paul Tracy got it back moving again. The IndyCar safety crew has managed to get Scott Pruitt over off the left side of the course, and they're trying to get him going before the rest of the field came around. But the field is now passing that section, and Gilles de Ferran, followed by Jacques Villeneuve, leads the first lap. Teo Fabi comes across in third, and then Brian Herta, followed by Michael Andretti and Robbie Gordon, Mauricio Gugelmin.
You see the ambitious move there by Alonso Jr. going down the inside in the red and white car.
Here's the crash involving Paul Tracy. Now, they're still on the pace lap at this point. Through a right-hander, then a left-hander. The green's not yet out. He caught him just coming off of that last turn.
That makes you wonder about the alignment on Paul Tracy's car. Clearly, that front right wheel really came in contact hard.
That was Andre Ribeiro sitting off the side of the course. They still haven't been able to get him restarted and back into this action. It does not appear at first blush that he has any severe damage on the car that would prevent him from continuing on. So back to the run itself. Gilles de Ferran, Jacques Villeneuve. Let's go pit side. Jack?
Let's give you a report on Paul Tracy. He radioed into the Newman Haas crew that he thinks something has been on the car, but they are hoping that maybe they can keep it under control until he comes in for his normal pit stop. This has put the chips on the wrong side of the deck for him right now, Paul.
Jack, any indication of what they're worried about, an aerodynamic or suspension?
Well, what he radioed in is he felt something was bent on the car, and it seems to me it might have been in the suspension area.
Jack, I think it's that right front. He really tagged the right front wheel, bent wishbone or something.
Sam, that's probably what it is, because he just radioed in. It's handling terribly, but he's going to try and hold on as long as he can.
The one thing about this track, of course, it's so wide that if anything goes wrong, you've got big, safe runoff areas almost everywhere. So a driver tends to want to experiment a little longer than you would somewhere else.
It's also so bumpy that the suspension piece that's already not functioning and broken or somehow not right is really going to be a problem on this bumpy track. It'll just beat it to death.
Nothing changes at the front of the field. We can go back and take yet another view of that incident, which really came before the green. This is from the Honda Helicam sitting overhead. There's that last turn, and look in the third row there. There's the touch. And you can see what happened to Pruitt and Ribeiro as they got together on a rear ender. And look at how far Jacques Villeneuve moved. He came sweeping way out trying to get into that corner more efficiently. Gary Gerald, what's Scott Pruitt's situation?
Well, his situation is that after a very few frustrating moments, they did get him restarted, and so he is back on the circuit, lost a tremendous amount of distance, including, I believe, a lap to the field. I haven't verified that. He has radioed to the crew, though he thinks the car is handling all right.
Gary, of course, Scott Pruitt has only dropped out of one race so far this year for mechanical reasons, another one Indianapolis because of a crash.
Well, Scott Pruitt is actually one lap behind the rest of the field. You're absolutely right, Gary. Paul Tracy started 6th. Has already passed Salazar and Hero and Carlos Guerrero after falling back behind the field. But, of course, he still has a full lap yet to make up.
Gilles de Ferran in the yellow car leading for Jim Hall, the car owner whose birthday it is today, by the way, is a Brazilian who was born in Paris. He speaks perfect English. He's been a great addition to the series this year with qualification positions right up front. He's started 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th in races, but he has never finished better than 8th. So today's a big opportunity.
Car 1, Al Unser Jr. started 13th, is now up to 7th. So he begins to try and challenge Robbie Gordon. Jack Arute.
Paul, this is the piece that Andre Ribeiro desperately needs on his car. It's the front nose cone piece. They want to get him on the pit road as soon as possible. 10 simple bolts. They can pull the nose cone off, put this one on, and he'll be back pretty close to the way he was set up before. The cost of this kind of a nose cone in excess of $18,000 to $25,000.
Well, and he'll be running for it now. They just got Andre Ribeiro started once again and into competition, but 4 laps behind the race leader, who is coming to overhaul him, and they put him 5 laps down right here as the battle remains static at the front of the field. Gilles de Ferran, Jacques Villeneuve, and then, of course, Théo Fabi, who has been knocking on the door a number of races this year and is exceptionally good on a road course. There was Ribeiro as he tries to get out, get around this circuit, and get back in the pits should that become necessary. I also think we let the impression go that Paul Tracy had fallen off the lead lap. He had not. He, in fact, was able to get restarted by kicking the clutch in and keeping the engine going, got off and back onto the circuit, and is now carving his way through the field.
You see Jacques Villeneuve in that blue car right there in second place. He is the current championship leader. This is a good moment for him because Rahal is back in 9th. He's his closest pursuer in the championship, and Michael Andretti is 5th, did not get a really good start. So this is a very good moment for Jacques Villeneuve. He's not worried, certainly from a championship standpoint, by the yellow car here of Gilles de Ferran, who has only, I think, about 12 championship points. He's way out of it.
Let's go pit side, Jack Arute.
Well, Sam, you're talking about Jacques Villeneuve. Team Green has already calculated that fuel is not an issue here in terms of the amount of fuel that's been given to each team. But what is an issue is, can you go in a 2-stop configuration? They are going to try and make it on only 2 stops. That means despite the window opening at lap 25, in order for them to make it on only 2 stops, they are going to come in no earlier than lap 30. They feel that if they can accomplish that in this first session, they'll be able to make this race in only 2 stops.
All right, so we'll keep track on that as well. In the meantime, Paul Tracy, his situation on the suspension. Lyn St. James, it doesn't seem anything's obvious there.
It really doesn't. We had a very quick in-car of him before, and I was looking at that right front, and it just does not appear that there is any damage at all, which is great for him. I mean, it may have just knocked it out of alignment a little bit, but if nothing's broken, and so far his lines look clean, you know, it looks good for him.
And Paul Tracy does seem to be able to overpower an ill-handling car.
Remember, though, that at Miami, we watched Michael Andretti drive with a similar thing, and then the part failed 10 or 15 laps after the incident.
7 laps are complete. Gilles de Ferran, the pole sitter, has been the leader right from the green. 1 incident, and that actually before the green. 7 laps complete, 90 laps total.
This ESPN special presentation is brought to you by Ohio, America's economic development leader, by Firestone, America's tire since 1900, by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life, and by Honda, building quality automobiles in America for the past 12 years.
Looking down on the Burke Lakefront Airport, Jacques Villeneuve currently runs in second place, trying to track down Gilles de Ferran, who has pulled away. And Villeneuve seems to be in a fairly desperate run. For the past several laps, he's been locking the fronts in a desperate attempt to get that car stopped corner to corner and hold off a charging Théo Fabi in third place. Andre Ribeiro is out of the run. He's with Jack. Jack Arute, you with us? Well,
there we go. Finally, we got the microphone open. Andre, your best qualifying effort, but it all goes for naught. What happened?
It is incredible. I was hit from the behind. Even